Got it. It's gonna be great. All right.
So,
Rock and
away.
roll, yeah.
okay. Hello, Zoom people. We got one person with the trumpet here in class, so we're gonna have some fun. My name is Heil. I'm the director of bands at Kearney, and I've been playing trumpet for a year or two. So I have a handout with those of you on Zoom. You can contact Mike or Rob or one of the guys. They can get that to you. But it starts with the very basic stuff that, like, day one, put the case on the floor, to put your instrument together, handle on bottom. Most cases, you know, that works. We've started to about probably 90 to 95% of them. We've gotten to where a few of them have the kind of the rope handles that, so you have to find another way to describe that to kids. We talk about the left hand position, ring finger in the ring, thumb behind the first valve, all of those things, and then mouthpiece in with a twist. How you doing, Dan? Coming to trumpet?
Yes.
Have a seat, buddy.
Right spot.
So holding the trumpet, the big thing with kids, I know if you've done this before, you got to tell them not to pop the mouthpiece because it'll get stuck. It does make a cool sound, but we don't want to have that. Okay. So moving on to the first sound, go ahead, put that together. The thing I do is I kind of impress upon the kids, always hold the trumpet in your left hand. Okay, it should never actually leave your left hand once you take it out of the case. All right. So once you have the mouthpiece in, I have students pull the main tuning slide out with their right hand, and then they can hold that in their right hand. There's really no reason to set it down. I'm going to set mine down. And the reason we do that is my first sound is actually through the lead pipe. We don't buzz the mouthpiece. A lot of people do, and that's fine. But the rationale behind blowing the lead pipe rather than just the mouthpiece or the entire trumpet is the lead pipe gives you less resistance than the entire trumpet, but enough resistance that it's more like the actual tone production when playing the trumpet as opposed to the mouthpiece, which has to be kind of manipulated to make a sound. The physics of that have to do with the wavelength, and the wavelength to get a vibration in just the mouthpiece is actually a pretty short wavelength, meaning a pretty high note to be able to do that. So a beginner is much more successful, and I actually do that. I blow the lead pipe to warm up. That's the first thing I do every day at my playing life with this game. So it's a great way to get started. So a demonstration of that, and this is not something you really need to do with your kids. I do it with my private students. I don't, sometimes I do it in class as well, and you guys can do this. So you can go ahead and set your slide down, take out your mouthpiece, hold it up, and I'm going to demonstrate everything we do. I'll demonstrate first, and I'm going to shoot you with it. Okay. So I'm going to blow through the mouthpiece, but I don't want my lips to vibrate. I'm just going to put my lips together. Actually, I forgot something. Before I have sixth graders, we start with sixth grade. Before I have my beginners do anything with the mouthpiece, I have them say mom. Say mom. Mom. So what you didn't do was say mom or anything like that, right? I don't know how well the Zoom folks can see me, but your lips are naturally together, but your teeth are actually apart a little bit. In fact, your throat is open, like ah. So if you say mom, it's a perfect setup for the mouth, right? So once you kind of have that set.
Hearing that the sound's a little hard.
Okay, sorry. I'm
Teacher
probably
voice, right?
probably going fast too.
No, you're okay. You're doing great.
So now I'm going to blow through the mouthpiece, but I'm not going to vibrate my lips like this. You guys do that. Good. So what happens if we start that and then add the pipe? This is kind of hard. It's kind of funny. The first time people try to do it, they have a hard time lining up and you run out of air. But here's what happens. Right? So you add the pipe, the resistance of the pipe actually causes the lips to vibrate in conjunction with the sound. It's really, I really view it as the vibration of the lips happening as a byproduct of creating the sound. It's in conjunction with, it's not vibrating lips can make the sound. right? So one more time, and I'm gonna have these guys do it. Try it just so you can experience that. Good. Yeah. So if you can get that to where it's not speaking when you're blowing through the mouthpiece, and then it does speak when you put it through the pipe to it, that's the primo thing you want right here. Okay. Next thing with the lead pipe, the goal is to play a concert E flat or an F on trumpet, that pitch. So that's what, provided that you have a normal length lead pipe. If you have someone with a cornet, that'll be different. If you have someone with a reverse lead pipe, which I wouldn't think you'd have a sixth grader with a reverse lead pipe, but you might, you never know. So, but a normal standard lead pipe on a B flat trumpet is going to be a concert E flat. So that's the other thing about using the lead pipe. It has tone, it has pitch, it gives you something to really listen to and emulate when you're listening, when you're trading opposite. So I'm going to go, and then I want you to go. We're going to do about 8 counts. Okay, about here. Good. Now you guys do 8 counts. Ready? Go. Good. That was much closer.
Reverse lead pipe.
Reverse lead pipe. Oh, so look at this guy. Sixth grader with a beard has the reverse lead pipe. That's excellent. Okay. So that was much closer to the pitch, right? So if it's a reverse lead pipe, that means it's longer. So you probably would be about that. Okay. Sorry. The other thing that you can kind of think about is with kids, they don't have to focus, and they won't know to do this yet mostly. But once we start tonguing to start notes, they'll start the lead pipe with a really strong tongue, like. That's not necessary. We want them to start with air. We want the air to be the impetus of the sound, not necessarily the tongue. Okay. Later on, we want the tongue to start the notes, right? But the sound should be able to happen free of the tongue. One more time, 8 counts. Ready and go. Good. And this is a great opportunity. So once you've done that, I will go down the line with my classes and have them do just the lead pipe. Gives you an opportunity to look at them, see what they're doing. Okay. I do everything I can to try to get them to look right without telling them how they should look. I want them to focus on the results, right? And because they don't know how they look anyway, right? So we want to try to get them to look the way we want them to look. And something about the embouchure, this is written in here somewhere. I'm not really seeing it. Right. Oh yeah, down the line. So no air behind the cheeks, or up in here, right? You guys did a good job with that because you've done this before. But so I say hug your teeth with your cheeks, or don't let the air behind your cheeks. In a way of describing not puffing your, you're not a blowfish, right? Teeth apart. We don't want to clench our teeth together. And the embouchure is actually blown into place. You can't really do a brass embouchure without the air. I mean, to do it correctly. I mean, you can get ready for it, but to really look right, if you look, the air is what completes the embouchure. It really is. Okay. Okay. So let's reinsert the tuning slide. Trumpet players, I usually have people do about the width of their index finger when they're putting their slide back in the first time. You don't want them to put it all the way in like they found their trumpet the first time. And that's just a starting point, but even for beginners, that's good to try to do. So we're going to play an open note. And I don't even talk about right hand position. We're still doing the left hand, and left hand the trumpet has not left your left hand, hopefully. And so we haven't even really talked about right hand position yet. And so you can do that now if you want, or you can do it later. I'll go ahead and do it now. I've got it on my handout there, but oh, by the way, it's later. So right hand thumb goes between the first and second valve underneath the lead pipe. Okay, you're not hitching a ride, right? So we don't want to put that thumb up there. And I would tell you, if you walk in, especially with the hybrid schedule of the last couple of years, I battled right hand position with my trumpet players in the middle school pretty fiercely right now. So right in here, make a C so that you can push straight down on the valves, and do not use that hook. Because there are lots of reasons for that. And I tell the kids, when you're more advanced and you have to turn a page, or if you've got a marching clip folder, then at that point you can use the pinky hook, but we don't want to put the pinky in the pinky hook. And the idea is that we're pushing straight down on the valve. Okay. If you have a student who oils their valves and still gets a sticky valve, then watch their right hand position, and I bet that their thumb is probably here, or their pinky is here, or both, and they're not pushing straight down on the valve, and that'll cause it to stick after a while. Okay, so we're going to try for an open note. We're not going to press any valves. One of two notes is going to come out. When a beginner does this, it'll either be the G, the concert F, the second line G, or the low C, which is a concert B flat. I always demonstrate the F, concert F, and then I'll have everybody do that. So I'm going to do 8 counts on it, on a G. Go ahead and play that together as 8 counts, or if you can make that. Ready and go. Very good. Now we had some pretty astute 6th graders, so nobody got that low C. But at this point, I'm really listening for a nice open sound and watching what they're doing. I'm not too worried about having them match that pitch yet. Later on, if you want to get to the point where we need to be matching pitch, you can have them speed up their air, make sure their posture is good, have them sing the pitch, which they won't want to do. If they're shy about that, have the whole class sing. But internalizing that pitch, vital to really kind of, it's grappling with both singing. So having them sing will really help them. So once we've done that a bunch of times and gone down the line with open notes, great opportunity to compliment every kid regardless of what they do, right? They get a low C, that's a great sound, that's really good air. Or if they get the high one, but it's pinched, say, hey, that's the same pitch I played, that's awesome. You can open that sound, you need more air. So we go to I think that what I would probably do next is go for even still open, still haven't hit a valve. Okay, so then, and I like to try to play the higher note first, and then just let it fall through. Easier for the kids to do naturally. So if you get them on that higher note, so here's what we'll do. We'll do two whole notes, a G and a C. It's a lot easier for them to slur to a lower note, right? So I still haven't said anything about tonguing, have I? And so you want to talk about starting the first note with your tongue, you can, but I think it's important to not tongue the second. To let the sound change without using the tongue on the lower. So you guys go ahead and do that. G to C, 1, 2, ready. Go. Good. Boy, watching your face, it did exactly what it's supposed to do when you start to that open note. I don't know if you can see what mine does. I don't know if it does it. Mine doesn't really do it as much, a little bit. younger, less experienced folks, there is a motion to that, and yours did it right. It kind of moves forward a little bit, jaw dropping just a little bit, and that's what you want. Okay. So now at this point, I talk about, now this has been, I teach beginning brass and percussion together. So I might have 5 or 6 trumpets, 3 trombones, a horn, a baritone, 3 percussion, right? And so that's probably the first day. With teaching every kid to get their instrument out of the case. The goal is to always have everybody make some sound, know how to put it away. And I give them time to come back to text, right? So that would probably be my first day, possibly. We have a smaller number of very different instruments as far as not as many things, then we'll get further. Okay, so usually around the second day, we'll talk about the valve combinations and how the trumpet works. It's actually any valve instrument. Okay, the trombone's a little bit different. Instead of a valve combination, it's a little bit slide, right? But you look at your trumpet, and a baritone player, a French horn player, a tuba player all do this too, right? So what we're actually holding here is 7 tubas, right? 7 tubas. So when you don't depress a valve, you're playing the shortest tuba, right? The air of sound goes through here, it bypasses the entire block of valves and their slides through the bell, right? So, hello. One open bugle, right? So if we depress a valve, it's going to open up the tube and make the bugle longer by that amount. So which valve is going to lengthen the bugle by the least amount? Which valve is going to shorten or lengthen the bugle by the least amount? The shortest tube. So it's the second. You see how the second one is the shortest? Yeah. So the second valve. So if you do an open. Now if you do the second valve. Right? So I have them write this and find an empty spot in the front of their book, the back of their book somewhere, and I'll write it up on the board. So we'll start with open, right? Then we go to the second valve. So what would be the next longest?
There was a request from the Zoom folks if you could talk up a little more. Speak up a little.
Speak up a little more.
Thank you so much.
Okay, you bet. Do I need to repeat anything?
You said it was cutting it out.
Oh, okay. So we know that the second valve is the next. So what would follow that? The next one. First valve. The first valve. Is that better? Hopefully. So then what would follow first valve? It is 1 and 2, but a 6th grader is going to look at it and say third. Right? Third is the next longest. But what they don't know is that we use 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and third valve are actually somewhat interchangeable. It's just that 1 and 2 is a little more in tune more of the time. So we use 1 and 2 instead of third valve. Right? So then what would come after that? What? Well, we skipped third in lieu of 1 and 2, so it'd be 2 and 3. Then after that, it is 1 and 3, and then all 3. Now, because I teach brass class, have trombone players. Actually, I would suggest this even if you have a class. I guess if you're fortunate enough to have a class of just trumpet players, you can consider using all 7. But trombone players, 6th grade trombone players generally can't reach 7th position. So we start using 1 through 6 in the positions, right? And so that means down to 1st and 3rd. We won't go all the way to 1, 2, 3, and 7. Okay. So if you look at the back of your handout, it's got that pattern, and then you can come back. And write in the position, and I also have a set of notes for the bells to play to match up while we're doing this. And so this is my opportunity to teach the trombone players. We're going to go through and play each one of these combinations. And the trombone players, I will go through the process of teaching them that position in that moment prior to even getting into it. So this is all, we'll have played the entire, you have done a lip slur and done all 6 valve combinations, not the 7, prior to opening. Okay. And so that's an opportunity to do that. So it takes some time to talk through that, and then teach the bell players how to play each, once they start on their F and B flat, then when we go to the next one, they move down a half step. So they learn how to function on the keyboard, and then I'm talking through where the positions are for the trombone. Okay. So right now we're going to play 2 pitches on each one of these combinations. Okay. The good thing about this is that everybody can do that. Even if they don't get 2 pitches, they're going to play 1. Right. And as you go down, some people will be more successful at getting 2 pitches by the time we get the 1st, 2nd, 2nd, 3rd, things like that. So we're going to do that right now. So we're going to start back at open the way we did earlier. We're going to do a lip slur, 2 whole notes, so G and then C. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, 2nd valve, trombones, we would tell them what the positions are. Then. 1, 2, ready, go. Good. 1st valve. I completely forgot about my thing. So I've got my PowerPoint here. I'm going to move this up. See if you can see that. So should have explained this earlier. That's the pitches for the bell players, the valve combination, and the trombone position. So that gets everybody IP in my class. Okay, and I've set this up so all I have to do is scroll down, I'll highlight the one we're on, so I don't have to yell it out, because this will become a daily warm up, and eventually they'll kind of have it memorized, or they'll have it written in their book, and so we won't have to have this on the screen every day, but I'll have it on the screen every day for the first few weeks probably. Okay. The other thing that I learned the first time I tried this, that every kid in my class was sitting up and their chin was up looking at the screen. That was a complete unintended byproduct that their posture and position improved simply because I put something on the screen. So it was a happy accident. But, so we just did this one, right? You ready for that? 1st valve, 3rd position. And then I have to remember to change it. That's the hard part. Heil has to change it after we play. 1, 2, ready, go. Excellent. first and second valve. Fourth position for trombone, D and G on bells. Ready, go. Good. Second and third, fifth position. D flat, G flat. That also gives you having the bell notes right there, gives you the actual pitches that the trombones are playing and the concert pitches for trumpets. I don't know that anybody needs that in sixth grade, but it might be helpful for the director. One, two, ready, go. Good. And for beginning, the last one, sixth position, the first and third valve. One, two, ready, go. Right, and so that's even an opportunity. Sometimes I wait till we're in the book and they relate it to a note. Probably is preferable, but if you can get them to think to do this on that higher partial of the 1 and 3, have them use their third valve slide, but then pull it in for the low one because we want it on that D. You don't want it on that low D. Okay, and so if you get them to start training the ears and not hear that. They play that for too long sharp, then that'll start to sound correct. Okay. So we've done 2 pitches, and you'll notice, as I said, with beginners, some of them will be more successful when you get around to third and fourth position, or first and second valve, second and third valve. What I like to do is one of my assignments that I will have them do is I'll send them home and say, okay, come back tomorrow. You practice all 6 positions, 2 pitches, and you come back and you can play you can choose which one you play, right? And so it will give them an opportunity to give them a reason to practice because they're going to figure out what they're going to play, and then we'll go down the line and each person may play a different one, and that kind of gives them a starting. They can work out from there. Work up to the high note on the up to open, then work down to the low note for 1 and 3. Sometimes people can play the high note on open, have a hard time playing the low note. Okay? So that's a kind of a cool way to do that. So I've got that on that list there. Choose your own fingering pattern to do 2 pitches. Then eventually be able to play 2 pitches on all 6 valves. Now, once you get more advanced, once they're getting a little stronger, I will add another pattern. And starting on 6th position, or first and third, and then we're going to make our way back up. So we're going to do half note, whole note. We're going to come back up. Okay? So that'll take some time for them to be able to, once they've played a while, be able to come back up, but it allows them to have another thing to work toward. So when they want to go back up, so they're going to want to increase their air even more through the low note into the high note. So here we go. Half note, hold. 1, 2, ready, go. Good, 2 and 3. Gotta remember to move it. have my kids kind of consider my whole note as a 1, 2, ready, go in their head, and they'll just come right in. So you guys just come right in after my whole note. First vowel. Good. Second vowel. And back home open. Good. So let's see. I will have students work through 2 pieces like we just did. Everything we've done so far becomes part of the daily warm-up once we kind of get into the book and get past that. It takes probably a couple of days of class to get this far. Maybe adding that the third note coming back up to the higher partial, maybe even longer after you've gotten into the book or whatever. Okay, and that's how I start class all the way through all my middle school classes, including the upper 7th grade, 8th grade doesn't come to me. They come junior high, but we'll add kind of add to that pattern. So the one we just did might be the beginning of 7th grade, the very first lip slur pattern we do, and then on the way back up, we'll add what we call the Jeopardy. I call it Jeopardy. So we're gonna whenever I add a new pattern and extend it, I do it from 6 up to 1 because you're adding a higher partial. It's easier to do it a little bit lower, right? And then add as we go up. So we're gonna do the Jeopardy. Yes. You know, I start French horns on the A pages, so they're playing at a 4th with the class all the time, and so I have them do that. So sometimes kids will start to match it. If they were like a little bit, they'll get to where they're actually matching it. I don't necessarily correct them, you know, unless they're doing something weird. But I kind of go ahead and get them going. Now, if they've got a double one, once they're a little further along, they can just park the thumbs in and match, but that's pretty high. So I would just go, they're going to be playing in harmony in the book anyway, so I'd go sometimes I will do that separately with them to start, play with them, and then put it together for the great question. Okay, so we're back at the 6th position. We're going to do Jeopardy. Jeopardy, right? So we're just adding that upper partial. Still the same notes for the bell players. They're going to now play the high F. So the high B flat on the first one. So actually in 6th position, they're on C and F. They're going to play C high F, C low F, C high F. So here we go. I don't have them worry about playing that upper G open for right now. We just go ahead and do it as a 2. 1, 2, ready, go. Yes, and try to use your air rather than your tongue to get that higher note. Okay, here's I do this in class too. I forget to move this. 1 and 2. Good. One of the things I kind of skipped over with regards to articulation, when you're warming up on the lead pipe, you can actually go back once they've been playing a little bit. When you're warming up on the lead pipe, you can use that time to try some articulation. Let's just do that. This is a great way to go ahead and pull your slides back out. I don't think I've got this on the. This is something that kind of occurred to me that I do. So instead of 8 counts, we're going to do 2 whole notes, and we're going to just think pa, pa. We've got to stay open the whole time, but the tongue just simply comes up and interrupts the note. We don't really want to think about stopping, right? I like to do this on the lead pipe before we do it on the horn. Better than. Good. Now we'll do 4 half notes. Ready? Good. Yeah, you can hear real quickly when if a student needs to kind of keep their air moving faster, smooth that a little bit. Go ahead and put them back together. Let's do that on an open. Actually, let's try 1 and 2. We're going to do the concert E, trumpet E. So we'll do quarter note. Ready? Go. Good. So if you start to get another sound in there, probably maybe tongue maybe a little bit too heavy, just try to think of just a slight interruption. Let's see, what else? Once again, if a student has trouble matching pitch, try to get them to sing. You have to get the whole class to sing first. You can sing with them, whatever. And the big thing, my overriding premise is the sound. The right purpose of everything you do. You really always have to accelerate the air through. You'll notice that everything we did, we traded off. So that Palen response, I call it trading off, but so that when the students are resting, they're involved in the sound. That's how I teach lessons too. I mean, I school off on stuff. So brass playing is different than woodwind. You need to rest as much as you play when you practice. If you're in a band rehearsal, you got to do what the band is doing, what the director is asking you to do. But when you're practicing, something I still struggle with, I'll get to where I can't do something very well, and I'll think, what is going on? And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh yeah, you haven't had the horn off your face for like 40 minutes. So resting as much as you play, you demonstrating and having them respond allows you to give them build in rest, but it keeps them involved in the sound, start to build their confidence. Another thing that's great for any instrument, obviously, but I try to get all my trumpet players to listen to recording to build that sense. That's really pretty good. Hey, how about that? Any questions? Any other questions? Supposed to be right here. You can see here. Yeah. Yeah, right. Right up on this. Every year, and I tell them what I told Dan. 1 and 2 and first and third valve are interchangeable. It's just that 1 and 2 is what sounds better. Basically,
what?
So that's what we do. So, and I tell them too. I kind of maybe to give them something to look forward to. Hopefully, that it's like when you get more advanced, there'll be a time when you'll use that third valve as well. It does work better in an instance, in one given instance. But yeah, right. That yeah. But 1 and 2 sounds better more of the time. So that's good. We're gonna rock it. Hey, thanks, guys.
It was interesting how the buzz was easier, right?
Yeah.
You spend forever trying to get it.
I tell you what, I've never been, I've been done this for 4 years as far as the band is playing trumpet. I mean, I think I learned to do the lead pipe. And having come off of having to wear masks, there was no way to cover the lead pipe if I didn't do that. And we had bell covers, we had masks, so we just do the lead pipe. Talk about a difference. It's just, and I started them at 7. Yeah, I mean their tone. I mean their tone just isn't the same. Yeah, it really does set you up. Well, that's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I have had them take the main slide. I've got some kids who will take their tune slide off just because it's more like it's a lower bit, it's more resistant. It's a different balance anyway. So, but baritone will figure out a slide. I will have them. I'll have them start firing while we're like everybody else, just because horn is so good. You guys have to be able to have that malleability, for lack of a better term, I guess, to really be able to kind of affect things within the mouth.
Awesome. So we're going to take just a couple of minutes of break here, and we'll be back with the trombone session in this room at 10 o'clock. So we got a few minutes here.
This up.